Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are joining us from today. Welcome back to the Meaningful Connection and Contribution series. This is our small business edition, and we have done 10 interviews. Jason is our 10th interview, so he's going to be rounding us off, closing out the live stream portion of this interview series, which has been a really amazing series so far. And I've no doubt, Jason, that you're going to just add that cherry on top.
I hope so. A lot of pressure.
No pressure at all, because you just get to be yourself. And I was just sharing with Jason before we came on live that, the heart, the meaning behind this series, whether it's small business edition or otherwise, is about authentic connection, right? Like we need more of that in our lives, at home, in the workplace, out on the streets when we're driving, right? Like we need more of these connections that feel meaningful so we can contribute to the world in a meaningful way, in a way that feels good to us and to others as best we can. So I'm feeling very honored to be able to do this series. I'm glad that I said yes to following through, and I'm so grateful for each and every single one of you that said yes to following through and being willing to share about yourself. Because honestly, in the business world, Jason, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like in the business world, especially if you go real corporate, sharing about yourself and like the behind the scenes of the business is one thing, but the behind the scenes of the human is like another thing.
Yeah.
Kind of been like a missing element, I think.
Yep. I agree. Especially in the corporate world. And I'm a little different. I don't own a small business, but I'm in a company where I'm running a smaller location outside the main unit. So I still kind of have that entrepreneurial aspect to my job. I'm very lucky to work with a company that they do allow me to, I guess, in the corporate, I've been in the corporate world, billion-dollar companies, and it's very guarded, and you have to be very careful what you say. But I work in a company that is, a medium-sized business, but they're very open to hearing those type of things, and they're very engaged in personal training and stuff outside work. So I'm lucky to be outside that corporate world and where I am now.
That's awesome. So I think that's actually a good segue into us learning about you and like who you are and some of your story. So can you tell us a little bit about you as Jason and some of the story that led you into like all those, corporate exposures that you had into where you're at now?
Yeah. So real quick, personal life, I've been married. Kate was actually one of the first ones you interviewed. And she actually works for, an arm.
Losing us.
Yeah, it works for an arm of the company as well in our nonprofit sector. But we were married, I guess, almost 17 years now. We have 2 children. We've been in the PA market for about 7 years now. College, I went to University of Delaware. That's where we actually met. Out of college, I went to a pretty big company, Cintas. They're kind of uniform rental company, but they're billion-dollar company, and I was there for almost 10 years. Then I moved into a company called Barnes Distribution, like Class C consumables, kind of like a Grainger. They're no longer around, but I was there for about 5 years. And then I did start my own company. It was a franchise that we worked with after-school program with Legos with kids. And then I had an opportunity to come on for Fedele Roofing and Siding, which is where I am now. I started that in Wilmington, Delaware at their corporate. And then when this location opened, they asked me to move up here. So kind of takes me to here. I did sales here for 5 years. So I was meeting with homeowners, meeting with commercial projects, estimating, and then kind of handing that over. And then about 2.5 years ago, they asked me to take over the location. So now I'm kind of general manager. So I run, everybody up here reports to me, which is great. So I have a team of, an office staff. I've got production, which deals with the actual production. And then I deal with all the salespeople in my area as well. And then we have subcontractors as well. So I've, roughly 10, 12 subcontractor crews that I'm managing. So yeah, here we are. That's kind of my quick story.
So it's been a bit of an adventure. What led you to switch out of more major corporate into where you're at now?
Like we were talking about, some of the stuff that your corporate world is a different monster. And there's a lot of good things to being about corporate. You're in a bigger environment. The benefits might be better. but you're just a number, and you're also not able to make the decisions that sometimes you want to make, or you have people, you have to make decisions that's right for the corporation, not for the people, and sometimes that gets lost. And I feel like I'm at a company now that takes both those in account. I kind of look at it three ways: a win for the customer, a win for Fedele, win for the employee. And I try to look at every situation in that light. And Fedele really gives me the ability to do that. Now, they might not always make the decision that is 100% for the employee or 100% for the company, but we're looking at all things and trying to find the best decision for all three of those. And I try to come into every situation with that in mind.
So when you started out in corporate, I mean, you were there for a while, right? You're there for a
Yeah.
decade, but it sounds like at some point you were feeling like what? How would you describe how you started feeling when you made that decision to?
I mean, there's some social reasons or personal reasons as well. We got transferred down to Charlotte, North Carolina. So I was there for about 3 years. Me and Kate did not have kids. We were traveling a lot back and forth between the Philly market. But I was just, we talk about burnout. I was getting a little burnout in the Cintas role. It's a great company. I can't say enough about it. They gave me the training, but it is a very, very tough culture sometimes. It's a lot of pressure. So I was getting kind of like, not that I was doing badly, but I was just time to like, hey, should we look to move back to Philly? Which I did look into. Cintas, it wasn't an option. And then I was just like, oh, I'm kind of burnt out. I'm going to look for a new job. And I talked to Kate, and we decided, hey, it's the best move to come back. And that's why I left there. But yeah, I was kind of on the verge, I feel like, of burnout, and they were putting more responsibility on my plate as well. And it was just time to make a move.
Was that a hard decision for you? Because there's a lot of people that are in that place, right? Like there's people that are already in burnout.
Yep.
There are people that have been in burnout, don't want to go back, been there, right? And then there's people that are like on the verge of burnout, and they can sense that it's happening, but maybe they don't feel like they have a choice, or they worked really hard to get to where they're at, so they don't.
Yeah. It was a sacrifice. I left a lot of stock options on the table. It wasn't the cheapest move. I made the mistake of looking how much I left and how much that hurt. But a lot of it's Kate too. Me and Kate have I feel like we have a very supportive relationship. So she kind of senses too, like, hey, you're not, you're kind of Ms. at this point. So it helps me to reflect as well. And then I did have another opportunity, and the Philly move back was another portion of that. But I could sense I can hide it at work, but I don't hide it as well at home. So when I come, Kate knows immediately, like, rough day. So being at home and having the support of her, she kind of opens my eyes. And I think I can kind of look at myself without and understanding where I am and making a decision from that point. So I don't know if there's a right word for it, but I can kind of look at myself and say, okay, this needs to be a change, because if I continue down this path, it's going to get worse.
That's awesome that you can recognize that, because not everyone can recognize it in the earlier stages. And even if they do, they might still feel like they don't really have that many choices, or they should just kind of stick it out type of thing.
Yeah, not to give myself too much credit, I was also at a place with no children. Right. There was not as much consequence. Like if it goes south, it's just me and Kate. I think now it would be, if I was in that position, it'd be a little harder to make that move. I was higher up. I was a manager there, but I wasn't, escalated to the position I am now. So it'd be a little tougher now if I was in that position rather than back then. So that was helpful too. It was risky, but not as risky as it would be now with kids and more established.
For sure. And you had a supportive partner, right? And, and when Kate was on, like I said, Kate started us out and you're rounding us off, right? And she shared the similar sentiments, right? That she felt that you two have a supportive relationship. Not everyone can say that.
No.
Right, for sure. And so it sounds like you both having that supportive relationship with and for one another has been a big buffer, a big
Huge, I think huge buffer. Having that, I think that's probably the best decision I've made. I've made in my entire life. And I think that is a decision your partner through life is so important. Because coming home, I need to bounce stuff off, or I need another perspective and somebody I trust, someone with no skin in the game. And yeah, it's been huge.
That's beautiful. And I think that's helpful for folks to hear too. Because when you're going through things in life, if you don't have any support, whether it's because you don't have a partner or you feel like you don't have that support with your partner, knowing that support is an essential ingredient, right? Like in this thing called life, it might look different each time. I know I was very averse to support or asking for help or any thing like that for the first few decades of my life, because I had to be the strong one and all of that stuff. But it does ultimately, it makes a difference, and it's not a weakness, it's a strength.
Yep. And I think I have as I've gone through my career, I think I have a good sense of work-life balance. Now it's not always going to be consistent. There's obviously times I need to work overtime and I gotta put in weekend hours, but overall, I know I need to put my phone down. I'm only one person. I can only do so much. There's only so many balls I can carry. And I've learned that you got to be able to draw that line. Otherwise, I can do all this work now, but next week I'm going to be a mess and I'm not going to get anything done, or I'm going to be stressed out and I'm going to make impulsive decisions, which is something that we're focused on right now in our company, is not making those impulsive decisions. So I think that work-life balance is really important too, and being able to establish that what's good for you, what you can handle, what you can't handle.
How do you bring, because it does sound like you value that, and it sounds like your wife values that too. And we have the very neat opportunity to hear from both of you in this series, right? So folks that are listening in, if you haven't listened to our first interview with Kate Domanski, check that out and you'll be able to hear some of how they really are similar in some of what they're sharing here. But so you're bringing this work-life balance value to the table as a leader. You're the boss, right? So how do you incorporate that? You were just saying, I feel like that's one of the things that we're working on right now. How do you bring that to the table to support your employees that you are leading in each day?
I think that's a culture I set up here at my location. I know in Fedele we have a very good culture overall, but there's different, feelings at every division. So the people that I've hired, I've created a culture of, we're going to work hard. But at the same time, I don't want my people to burn out. So number one, my door is always open. It's always here. I have they can come in here, and they've come in and I've heard stories, personal stories, that I won't share, but tears on both sides. And I've gotten to know them as people. But that's really important. But how can I help? And if one person is having a problem, let's pull everybody together and figure it out. And my team there's a lot of teamwork. So even if that one person, it's his project or her project, and they're stressed out, how can we support that person when they're down? Because the same thing's going to happen with the other parts of the team. So I think just honest communication, come to me. If you are drowning, I need to know, because I can't help you. And if you do come to me, let's figure out a solution. Let's pull in support, whether it be from another location or someone else on the team. So I think it has to do more with the culture and the openness of my team, which I am so proud of the people under me. So I'll get emotional about that.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. And I think that's a great and courageous and strong thing to get emotional about, to know that the leadership that you are demonstrating each day cultivates a workplace where people can feel supported. And support seems to be the key word here for you, right? Across the board. Would you say that carries over to then the work that you produce, or the service that you produce for the folks that you serve in your roofing business?
Yes, I mean, a big part of our culture at our company is we're not going away. Our warranties are typically very long. We're entering, whether they know it or not, we're entering a long-term relationship with our customer, even though hopefully you only have to do a roof once in your lifetime, maybe twice. But with that comes a 20-year workmanship warranty. So there's issues 10 years, 15 years down the road, we're going to still be a part of that. And I think the big key thing about our company is if we get something wrong, we're not going anywhere. We're going to figure it out. You may not be happy with us, and we may not, you know, everything, all your expectations came true, and we obviously want to do that, but we are going to pick up the phone. We're going to figure it out, and we're going to try to figure out a solution that works best for everybody and move forward. So we're not a company that's going to not pick up the phone, or we're going to change our name in 2 years and now we're, you know, G Fedele and Son instead of G Fedele, which it does happen in our industry, that people just, you know, and at that point, once you change your name, those warranties are void. So I try to keep that with our customers as well, to keep that support with them as well in that endeavor and that relationship.
I got to ask you clearly care about being a leader that is supportive, and communication, it sounds like, is very important to you as well. How or does that carry over to then parenting? Because with your wife clearly have a supportive relationship, you and your employees, you know, you try to cultivate that supportive relationship at work. And then we have the branch of parenting, right? Which is always changing, ebbing and flowing with all the different ages and stages of life. And so you're managing a marriage, and you're managing your business as boss with your employees, and you're managing being father of children. Sometimes, you know, so what's that like for you?
Children's is probably the toughest job I've ever had. It's very fulfilling. I love every minute of it, but at work, I can keep my emotional, I guess, involvement to a minimal. I'm a very laid back personality at work. Like, I try to be even keel. Problems, ups and downs come. And most of my job has been in the sales, I've kind of gotten pretty good at staying even keel, because sales is a roller coaster. You close a huge deal one day, and the next day you lose it, or something else bad happens. So you got to stay even keel. It's a little tougher with kids because you're so emotionally involved in the situation. And I struggle with that sometimes, especially with one of my children who's can be a little tougher nut. He's awesome and he's got a great personality, but he can be tough. I'm learning as I go, and Kate has been, obviously, it's a team effort. I think we play off each other really well too. I'll know when she has had enough, and I can sense that and kind of pull in, like, okay, Kate, take a break, I'll jump in. And she's very good at seeing when I'm at that point and her coming in. And we try to support them in all their endeavors and try to do as much as we can. I know I'm not perfect, and I make failures, and I lose my temper probably more than I should. And I look back on those moments and, I really screwed up. But it's like, okay, how can I learn from that? And something that I always did pull from my father is he wasn't perfect either. And I learned that more and more. But going to my son or my daughter in those moments of weakness and owning it too. Saying, listen, daddy lost his temper. He shouldn't have yelled at you, but can you see what you did wrong and why I reacted that way? And let's figure it out and move forward. So I've gotten better at that as the kids have gotten older. But man, that's the toughest thing. And I think I'm doing a pretty okay job. I tend to be probably harder on myself than anything else in that realm, but I don't know if that's a very clear answer.
No, I think it's an honest answer, and that's why we're here. And the part of the reason I ask is, of course, because we want to learn about you, the human, right, behind the business, but also because when people hear from folks like you and I, and they hear us talk about the areas of our life where we're doing really well, and we're really strong in those areas, I think it's also important for them to hear about the areas that are more challenging for us as well, because we are human, right? Like, none of us are robots. We're all human. We all have the areas in our life that give us more of a growth edge, that maybe have the opportunity to push buttons a little bit more, right? For some, it's parenting. For some, it's more in the professional realm. For others, it's more in like the intimate marriage, like relational realm in that regard. And that's okay, right? Like that's part of being human. But if we can just normalize this humanness that we are and say we're always learning and growing. I love that you said, I own when I mess up, because when we don't do that, I think that does the deepest, that does the deepest hurts. If we mess up and then we try to put it on our children because we're scared of being wrong or whatever the case is, or because of our own wounds that haven't been healed, that becomes more damaging for both of us, right? For all parties involved. So you saying, I'm going to own when I mess up is so healing. We call that in psychotherapy, there's power in the repair. It's because we're all going to mess up sometimes. The power of the mess up comes in the repair. Comes in how we handle that, comes in how we show up within that. And I just love, I think that's so beautiful and honest that you're willing to share that with us, because so many people, fathers, I'm sure, need to hear that today.
Yeah, thank you for making that sound good.
It's true. It's true. I'm not just saying it. Okay. So as we round out our conversation today, we got two more things. So the first thing is I ask everyone that's come to this interview series to bring with them a challenge that I can meaningfully connect and contribute with them for them. And so I'm going to ask you to do that in a moment. And then after we do that, I'll give you an opportunity to share the best ways for folks to reach out to you, so that if they want to connect with you, learn more about your services and things like that, they know where to find you. Sound good?
Perfect. Sounds good.
All right. So let's start with the challenge that you brought me today.
So something that I have every year, our management team gets together. We kind of put together something that you want to work on this year. And this year I wanted to work on complicated conflict situations, I guess. So my background, like I mentioned, has always been sales. So up to this point in my career over the last 2.5 years, I never really dealt with production. I've never dealt on that end of it. I've always been on the sales end. So there's conflict in the beginning stages, but it tends to be less emotional. It's negotiation and trying to figure out a way to get this deal to the table that works for both parties. It can get emotional, but it's not typically that emotional. I also worked in the corporate sector where we're working with businesses. At Fedele, I'm dealing with people's homes, and these aren't, it's not a steak dinner. If we screw something up, it's not like, hey, here's a free steak going your way. If we make a mistake, it could be, number one, it's very personal to that person. It's their home. It's their biggest investment. And if we mess up, it's typically thousands of dollars that could be screwed up, not just a free steak. So in this world, I've realized there's a lot more emotion when I'm going into a conflict, not typically for me, sometimes for me, but usually from a homeowner who is angry. And sometimes they have every right to be angry. And I have to walk in that situation and deal with it and come to a resolution and try to get through all that emotion. So that's something I've been trying to work on this year, and with a mentor, and then kind of tracking too, like how the situations that I'm dealing with go. So we're kind of what happened, document it, talk to my mentor. How could I have done this better? Or, hey, this came to a good resolution. So dealing with that, I'm actually reading a book right now called The Third Alternative, which is a really good book. I recommend it. So that has been kind of my progress through this year that I'm trying to work on and get better at.
Okay. So when you say you're trying to get better, basically we're talking about, you said like complex conflict management, essentially. Yep. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah. By the time it gets to my desk, it's usually pretty bad.
Right. Right. Because you're the boss.
Yeah.
So if it had to go through the other channels to work up to you, then that means that it's something.
It's every other avenue has not worked. And now, I'm getting involved usually in the middle or at the end of a project to try to resolve what happened.
Okay. So I have two questions. So one is, do you feel solid in the avenues that it needs to go through before it gets to you? Like, do those feel like they're solid?
My team is made up of, I've really veteran guys who typically, yes, and it's rare that it will get to my desk if those guys, but I have some greener people too. So that's a work in progress. It's continually, hey, could you have done this or this before it got to me? And if you had handled this at, the beginning of the project, we wouldn't be dealing with it at the end, and see how it has escalated because we didn't deal with it then. So there's coaching that's involved, but overall the processes we have in place and the people in my place, I am pretty confident in that. But things fall through the cracks. People make mistakes. Busy season comes, some of that stuff, it happens, and we can always learn from it. But overall, I'm happy with the processes we in place for dealing with that kind of stuff.
Okay. And when something goes awry in one of those levels before getting to you, are you satisfied with how you handle that? If something falls through the cracks, are you satisfied with that part of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a conversation, and like I said, I'm not a yeller. I don't, at least not at work. I'm not a screamer. I try to stay even keel, and my mentor, who I work for, it's kind of a weird situation, but he's given me a lot of grace in my role through Fedele, and that's something that we always talk about. We want to give grace, and we want to allow a culture where you can make mistakes and not be afraid to lose your job, but there is consequences. So I come to that situation too of, we need to look at this. What could we have done better? But I want to do it from let's grow and learn from this. The same way that I was taught. I've cost this company thousands and thousands of dollars because of mistakes I made. And I won't make those mistakes again, but I need to give the same grace to my employees. So that's how I come. Now, if it's a situation where this same thing is happening, that's more of okay, we need more training, or is this a can do or can't do situation? And but overall, yes, I'm.
Okay, cool. So then when you say you would like to do better in this area, what does better look like? What do you mean by?
I think for me, it's when I get involved and I'm engaging with a customer. It's a muscle that I haven't used before this role, where I'm going and emotions are a lot higher. So going into that situation and being able to, number one, too, a lot of the times before, I was involved from the beginning. So I had a relationship with this customer that I could pull off of. Now I'm coming in sometimes cold. They don't even know my name, and I'm coming in to fix the issue. So walking into a situation cold like that, and then dealing in that situation, dealing with that conflict, and then kind of bringing it down and then resolving it is
this something that you said you're kind of strengthening this muscle or building this muscle? So is this something you are developing this because it's something that you haven't developed before, or are there things that you've noticed have happened that you think are like a challenge for you that you want to?
Yeah, so sometimes over the last 2 years, that muscle has developed, and I've got a lot better at dealing in that situation. I just want to up my game a little bit. And something I've learned from reading the book is sometimes I come in with a bias. I come in with, I've got to protect the job margin. I got to protect the company, or I have to protect my person, who I got to look at it. Okay, what is the best solution for everybody involved without my bias coming in? I need to listen to that person. I've got to let them vent, let them get everything out, rather than at the beginning, I tend to maybe, all right, well, I understand that, but this is why, rather than sitting back and letting them kind of get it all out and then start talking about it, and then let's come to a solution together. Where I felt I was a little more combative at the beginning of my role, that, again, 2.5 years. So I felt going in, it might've been a little more from a defensive point of view, more combative point of view, whereas I need to come in more open-minded and see their perspective. They're not happy. And whether it was just an expectation at the beginning that they didn't have met, and bringing that expectation more to the middle, or did we really screw up? And we need to fix this. And so just coming into that situation a little better with a more open mind, I guess.
Do you feel like you're already doing that?
I am, but I've gotten better, and I think I can get better at it. So I'm not where I want to be, I guess. And I tend to, even with Kate and I, when we get in a fight, I need to process things. And I need to learn that that's okay. So I've been in recent, conflict like this, and it doesn't happen a ton, and that's another reason. So I don't get as much practice sometimes as I want. But being able to tell a customer, let me step out of this and think about what's a good resolution, rather than like, we need to try to fix it now. Like emotions are high. We're both, whether both of us are hot or one of us is hot, let me step back and process this. And I need to do, I do that with Kate. I need to step away. I need to think about it. I need to calm down. I took another class, and they basically, the science behind is the madder you get, the IQ drops. So if you're emotional in that situation, those two people are actually getting dumber.
What happens is the way the brain works is that when emotions are really elevated, challenging emotions are really elevated, then this prefrontal cortex, which is our logical reasoning thinking part of the brain, they call it, like, you kind of flip your lid. And so then you're thinking with your emotional brain, essentially, right? So you're thinking
the flight or fight kind of, yeah.
So what I would encourage you to do is it sounds like that you want to continue to grow and up level in this area, but I haven't heard specifically where and how you want to grow. Okay. And that is necessary in order to really give specific strategies or coaching around how we can help in that specified area. An overarching idea of I want to grow, I want to develop in this area is a great place to start.
Got it.
But it's not going to give you specific steps or specific movement because we're just not being specific. Yeah. So what I would say to you is I would actually challenge you to just take some time with yourself, maybe 5 minutes. Like, what do I really want to up level, or what am I really scared? Like, if I mess up, if something's going to happen, like, what am I really scared is going to happen, or that I'm going to mess up in, and get the clarity there. Then we can actually be really specific about how to navigate whatever that thing is, whether it's a strategy or it's a mindset thing or a combination of both. We could do that. But right now it's kind of too overarching. Got it. For me, anything that I would give you now would be very general, because we're just at the general stage, which is that's okay. And so if I were to speak generally, what I heard you say is that you value support, you value clear communication, you value giving grace, and I'm going to use my words here, meaningful connection and contribution, right? Which happens to be the name of this series. And so when one of these things comes up for you, I would challenge you to build that muscle outside of when those complex conflict situations come up, because they're so few and far between. Yeah. Right. So anytime there's a bit of any conflict, not just these larger complex conflicts, but a bit of any conflict or disagreement, ask yourself, how can I handle this? Honoring clear communication, showing up in a supportive way for myself and others, right? Like really giving grace again for yourself and for others, and allowing myself to meaningfully connect with myself and others. And I can email you those words. Yep, that'd be great. Let yourself anchor into that, and then take action, and then respond. As you practice that now with the smaller things, everyday things, it will become more second nature, easier for you to do, to implement, to reflect upon when this complex situation comes up. Does that make sense? It does. Thank you for that direction. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. All right. So when we're at general, we just start out a little bit more general, and then over time, things can get more specific, and that's a normal part of the process. That's fine. So let's give everyone an opportunity to find out how to connect with you, Jason, whether it's email or website or both. The best way to reach out and connect with you if they would like to do that. The website would be gfedele roof.com, and all our business phone numbers on there, and I'm on the website as well. Or my email is Jason, Jason, Domanski, Domanski at gfedele.com. And that's GFEDALE.com. I was just going to say, can you spell Gfedele? Yeah. I don't know if I would know how to spell it if I haven't seen it before.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Jason, for being here with us, being
of
real
course.
with us, sharing with us and spending your time with us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you for doing this and having me come on. I mean, within our marketing group, it's really cool that you're doing this, and I was happy to be a part of it.
Yes, it's very exciting. Thank you so much. And everyone that joined us today, if you want to reach out to Jason, I will drop the links below so that it's easy for you to access him. If you have any comments or questions, you can also leave those in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you all. Till next time.
See you guys.